enjoying some of the sunshine we've been having with the somewhat spring weather the last few days. This week we're continuing to look at stories in the Bible that we may know, we may not know, but then asking ourselves, what can we take from this story? What can we apply to our life that maybe is more than just a story, right? What are some lessons or some things that we can learn from this story that we may know in the Bible? And so this week's story is part of the story of Solomon, okay? Solomon was the third king of Israel. He was David's son. And when Solomon becomes king, he goes to God. He meets him in the tabernacle after making sacrifices. And it says God appears to Solomon at night. And we're going to kind of look at that story and ask, what does it mean for us today? And Solomon basically answers, or God comes to him and he says, Solomon, I will give you anything you want, right? I'll give you one thing that you want, name anything and it'll be yours. And Solomon's reply is really interesting. He says, Lord, give me wisdom and knowledge, okay? And God says, I will grant you wisdom and knowledge as well as all these other things. God says to Solomon, you could have asked for wealth, you could have asked for power, you could have asked me to destroy your enemies, you could have asked for possessions, you could have asked for all these different things, and yet you asked for wisdom and knowledge, and therefore I'm going to give you those and all these other things. I think one thing that's very interesting about this story is that Solomon asked God for something that's for himself, but it's also for the benefit of his people, right? He realizes that being a wise and knowledgeable king, he's going to be a better king, and he's going to serve his people better. And so the ask isn't necessarily just for him, but it's for others. He's wise enough to know that he's not wise enough to rule the kingdom. And so his ask is very interesting in that regard. I think right now, at least, a lot of our prayers and a lot of our conversations with God kind of circle around asks. We're asking God a lot right now, whether it's questions or requests, right? We have questions like, why is this happening? When's it going to end? That kind of thing. But then we also have asks where we ask God to do things. Please help this to end. Please be with these people that are suffering. Please help me to go back to school in the fall. Whatever it is, our prayer lives are pretty much filled with asks right now. And not that that's a bad thing. I think asks are part of our conversations and part of our prayers with God. But for this week, think about, hey, am I, in my prayer life, in my conversations with God, is it more than just asks? Are there some thanksgivings? Am I thankful for anything right now? Is praise part of my prayer life? Am I thanking God and praising Him enough as well? I think all of those are a healthy balance of our prayer life, and ask should be a part of that. But also kind of ask ourselves is, where is my prayer life? What does it look like? Is it full of questions, or is it full of other stuff? And also, do my asks, do my questions of God reflect on others or just myself? Am I asking for things that are going to benefit me? Or like Solomon, am I going to ask for things that will benefit others too? And so that's in our blog this week. You can read that, and there's some discussion questions to go along with that. Our movie this week is Elf. I realize it's not Christmas season, but I still think it's a good movie to watch, and it's really funny too. What I want you to pay attention to, if you've seen it before, rewatch it, it's worth it, or you can watch it for the first time. But what I want you to pay attention to is the character of Walter. Okay, Walter is Buddy the Elf's biological father. He's also Michael's father in the movie. And so Walter, when we meet him, is a very grumpy, career-driven, money-driven person who's not very nice to his coworkers, not very nice to his family. And so this is the picture we get of Walter at the beginning. And at the end of the movie, I'm not giving anything away by saying this, is that Walter has changed, okay? He's a totally different person than when he was at the beginning of the movie. And ask yourself is like, what changed in Walter and how did he change? Did his relationship with his sons change him? With his wife, with his co-workers? What changed in Walter's life that caused this change in him? And then also ask, is there maybe a little bit of faith that Walter has given into? What's really changed him and made him a better person? And for yourself to kind of think about is, what's changing me in my life right now, or maybe even reflect on in the past? What are things, who are people, what are relationships that have changed me? And is my faith, is my relationship with God a part of that? And so that's the movie for this week. Check, if you can, watch that or rewatch that and just be asking yourself, when you look at it, look at Walter and say, what's changing in his life that has caused him to be a better person, and also what's changing in my life. So hope you have a good week. We'll see you soon.